Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Related Podcast. Today we are talking about red flags, icks, whatever people call them. If you don't know what that is, you probably know it in your life as something else, but red flags can be things that stand out with someone that, what would you say, that is sort of like puts you off with someone, or someone that's something a trait you don't like in someone, basically, whether it's friend or a partner or any scenario.
It can be
really,
anyone, really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just relationships. It can be something at work. It can be an acquaintance where people say things. I've learned to listen to when people.
Listening is key. Because you learn a lot in that. Like, even as people, I feel like this stage of life now, I've got a very small circle of friends that I have around me, which is something you learn over time.
Yes.
From experience. Of
Yes.
I always get concerned with the people that have, like when you see people's weddings and they have like
300 people.
30 people in their bridal party. I'm
it's like,
you're literally going to look back and regret that, because
of course,
just by default, you can never have that many close people.
Yeah, of course,
and you've seen it with weddings. I know lots of people that have experienced where they have bridesmaids or groomsmen, and you hear the horror stories of now they're jealous of you, and that's the reality. Like, throughout life, there's so many people that present red flags to us.
Of course.
I think that what we're all probably guilty of at some point is overriding those red flags and what that looks like, because we actually don't. A lot of things we accept. As just people's, that's just the way they are, or we dismiss things. But actually, that's what we want to really highlight today, that actually, no, we don't have to just live with things. Like, we don't just have to accept the red flags. Like, and just because you've known somebody for a long time.
Even in dating somebody, I don't know if you finished watching that program last night.
I haven't, no.
What's
I
this?
didn't get a chance
So
to.
it was an actual case.
It's an actual documentary.
So it was the actual documentary of the court case, but she married. It was an Indian wedding, and she is the only daughter of this couple, and she marries this guy, and so that he's on trial for the murder of his wife.
Okay.
Basically, but there was so many red flags why she should have left him.
In a nutshell, basically, the document, I think it's called Pushed, or
The Push,
or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So basically, they had quite a volatile marriage. It wasn't a long marriage. He was Muslim. She very much was career driven. She was a solicitor. She very much had her wits about her. Like, her parents were very involved in her life. Like, her mum was like her best friend.
But the red flag was, she saw them.
It
but
started from the
she
engagement.
started recording his conversations. So she was
He was very abusive.
So he was abusive
with her, you mean?
Yeah. So she was documenting and storing.
So she knew.
So there's enough of
So
a
she
red flag to know
basically,
to record the
there was so
situation,
much red flags, and to the point she knew, because she now is documenting. She literally spoke for herself from the grave.
She represented herself, basically.
She represented herself.
So he basically, the mum on trial on the stand, recalled an event in particular where they were going to get the rings for the wedding, and he literally just flipped out. He was swearing at her
For nothing.
He was really abusive for absolutely no reason. Now, if that's you in a relationship, that is something that we would consider a red
At the
flag.
beginning of a relationship,
When
as well.
somebody switches just at the
For no
drop of the
reason.
hat, when somebody displays acts of anger,
Well,
you're
even if there
literally-
is a reason, let's put it that way. Even if there's a reason, there's
when
no
somebody's
reason
reaction
to flip. It's so
is
violent.
so extreme, you're seeing literally the tip of an iceberg. It's only going to get worse, because if you're happy to do that in public, in front of this girl's parents, that's a major warning sign. Because if you're willing to do that in front of people, usually most people are trying to put their best foot forward, especially with the in-laws. If you're willing to do that before the marriage, then what are you gonna, like, my thing would be, what are you gonna do when you get me alone? Like, because that's...
Shall I give you the spoiler alert?
No.
No spoilers. Listen, you've got to put warnings out there before it says spoilers.
You've got to
What is
watch
this
it.
on? What is it on?
It was on, gosh, it just popped up. I didn't even
It
look
was
what
on the
channel.
Sky Glass. It was,
Sky Glass.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It was a
But
documentary.
it was in 2 parts. But oh my gosh, she defended herself.
Mm.
She was all the way through a lawyer.
Wow.
But she had so many red flags, yet he manages to talk her into going to this mountain. What do they
Scotland.
call
They went to
it?
Scotland.
Something seat.
Is that where you killed her?
Yeah, he basically took her to where there was
She's pregnant. And I'm thinking, what pregnant woman goes on a hike
in a
to
mountain
the top of a mountain?
in Scotland.
Yeah.
In Scotland. It's
Okay.
like, how did
And
he
they're from
manage to
Leeds.
talk her into that? And I'm
Yeah.
sure all the way on every step of that hike,
Yeah, there's something.
There
like,
was something-
Should have checked.
because I remember having checks, even before becoming a Christian, I used to have checks, and it was this looming feeling like something was going to happen, and it's that warning. So I don't think you have to be a Christian to have it. I think we all have that instinct built inside of us where there's danger. It's sometimes it feels like your heart is like racing really fast, or you just feel you just feel uncomfortable.
Like danger,
You sense danger. You sense danger, and I think red flags is stopping and taking note of that, and don't override it, and don't tell yourself, oh, I'm just being silly.
Yeah. But I think for me, red flags really represent toxic, like something that's toxic. Like I remember having a friend, and obviously she was like a childhood friend. You guys will know who he is.
We won't call any names.
we won't name names. But I very much distinctly remember, like, obviously growing up, and obviously she was like a sister to me. So I think those ones are the ones that's really hard, because when it feels like they're almost like family, you do dismiss a lot of their behavioral patterns and traits. And like I remember like probably being like 15 or 16, and I remember like I'd buy clothes and they would like just go missing. So like, and I was like I know I bought stuff. And I remember a particular pair of jeans that I bought, and at the time, I guess for like a 16-year-old, they were like actually quite expensive. They were from Karen Millen, and then back in the day, Karen Millen was expensive. And these jeans, I wore them once and they went missing. So I was like, so I remember like going to her house and being like, "Where is my jeans?"
Oh, you figured she took it?
Yeah, because you're the only person.
But you lot were like the same size.
Yeah, everything.
Almost like twins. isn't it?
Yeah. So then, like,
you know who she took it.
Anyway, it transpired that she had not only stolen the jeans, but obviously when she found out I was coming, she hid, like, I don't know if you know, some houses have like a bin store outside, like where it's like a cupboard almost, like inside of the house. She'd basically like hidden them in the bin store.
What?
Madness. And then another,
because she knew you were coming.
Because she knew I was coming. And then another time, I had
How did you find them then?
Her mum basically ratted her.
That's even worse now.
No, it gets worse.
It gets worse.
So then another time we were on Oxford Street, and she basically I bumped into her, but she was wearing a jacket that she'd taken without asking. She literally ran down Oxford Street.
Can you imagine?
Ran because
I've seen you.
Wait, and there's more, right?
There's more.
Okay.
So then obviously that
Keep
was when
going.
I was a teenager.
Keep going.
So then it gets worse as you get to an adult.
Yeah.
So then I remember.
Oh my goodness.
Do you excuse? So obviously a lot
So
of
you excuse all the red line, red light, blue light.
Yeah,
No,
not a
but
good friend.
You're obviously young, and you, like I said, you dismiss a lot of things because you're like, oh, like that's just how you always like, is that's how she is. So then I distinctly remember us going out for lunch, and you know that person that always forgets their wallet or accidentally,
Conveniently.
yeah, never has it.
Until they want to go shopping.
So then we literally get to the restaurant, and she's like, we get to order to the pay part, so the bill comes.
I see you've eaten.
You've ordered, you've eaten. Oh, I forgot my wallet. Okay. And then I think for me, the last straw was we went out. So now we're actually grown now. And like I had cash in my wallet because we'd obviously gone for dinner. And then I think we went like for drinks afterwards. And I think I must have had maybe about £300 cash in my wallet.
She did not teeth out your money.
I get home, all the money's gone.
Oh my
All
gosh.
of it?
All the money's gone.
That is brazen.
All the money's gone, and I
Wow.
just thought, you know what? Like, I'm drawing a line in the
That's
sand.
someone that don't even want to
So
be your
how
friend.
did she get your wallet?
So like I
Wait, went to the
distinctly
toilet or something?
like, you know when you actually start to retrack your steps.
Yeah.
When did I leave
And
my
I
bag?
remember it was in my car. So I was in my
Wow.
car and my bag was like on the back, like in the back.
Okay.
And like she turned around to like look for something.
Wow, that's a pickpocket. Because how do you even? How do you
It's a
even?
thief. I mean pickpocket.
Yeah, but how do you do all of that?
£300 ain't
You're
pickpocket.
calculated, and I think that the reality is there's some people.
That's
There's
crazy. I
certain
did not know
people.
that.
Like, right while you're sitting there.
Yeah, but that's
like,
someone that doesn't
going
even
through
value
your-
your relationship
No.
as a friend. Because it's like, if
Wow.
I get caught, then whatever, we'll cut
Yeah,
ties.
but you're also selfish.
For
because
£300, you want
actually-
to that whole
Yeah,
friendship.
but she's got away with it because Danny's ignored all the red
Because I've
flags over
allowed
the years.
it.
So it would just be another thing.
I've allowed
Yeah.
it, and
So
I've
yeah.
allowed it, and I've
Yeah.
allowed
See,
it.
they've stretched your. They're testing the
Yeah,
barriers of the
And I think
relationship.
for me, I was just like, after a while, I was like, you know what, like, this is actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I love you, and it was, to be honest, it was really difficult because you feel like she was like a sister
Like
to
a family,
me.
yeah. She's
And it was almost
sleep
like
over
I
our
grieved
house.
her, like almost
Yeah.
like, you know, like a death, like a bereavement, because it's obviously you don't want to lose this person because you're
Yeah.
used to having them in your life, and that's what's sometimes
Yeah.
difficult about acknowledging a red flag because you can't. It means
Yeah.
that you have to do something
Yeah.
about it.
Mm.
You can't just
Yeah.
ignore it. You actually have to act on it. And obviously, I can only imagine, like in a relationship or a marriage, for example, if somebody's displaying all these red flags, I think a lot of people it's easier to ignore it because then you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So obviously, for me, my dealing with it was like, you know what? I just said,
Enough is enough.
It's just too
Yeah.
much, and I just distanced
Yeah.
myself from her.
Was that
Yeah.
it when the money went? Was that the last one?
No, I think I still kind of kept her in my life.
She's like,
if
That
I'm
is that one.
honest,
Every
if
red
I'm
flag.
honest,
If you
and
don't
then
hear,
there
you'll
was just
feel,
other
man.
events where there was a lot of expectation. Like I think she was having a baby, and she wanted everyone to pay all this money towards like funding this baby shower. And I was like, do you know what this?
Yeah, I
this
understand. I
is too
paid by a
much.
long time, remember?
yeah, I
Paid a long
paid
time.
in
Paid in
advance.
installments.
But I think I got some birthday, right?
Wow.
And it was just, it was just a bit of
Yeah.
a messy situation. And I was just like,
Mm.
I think for me, what I realized is, you know, as you get older, you're like, when something's just draining
Yeah.
and it's just taking away rather than adding, like, I think for me,
Yeah.
that was like, I was like, I'm too old to be doing this.
Yeah.
I can't do the drama. I can't do that was it.
I think everyone can think of red flags. I'm sure they're popping up in your head. You're looking at Daddy.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure
it's a-
you've got a few. But I remember
it's a-
one particular person. I remember this individual kind of met her, but she kind of forced the friendship. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't. I
It wasn't
personally-
organic.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah, it was
organic.
very
I didn't
like-
automatically click. It was you
Yeah.
making this friendship happen. This person had latched herself onto us, and it was just this possessive, controlling
Yeah.
type of thing. And I don't know if anyone watching is in that kind of relationship, but I don't like to feel suffocated or controlled. I like to feel free. If I don't talk to my friend in 3 months, we're good. We'll pick up where we
Yeah.
left off. And this particular person, it took years to just really to end it.
Yeah.
Well, I was ended long time, but she just wouldn't let go. And I remember one time we came home and we'd been out all day, and there was, I don't know, it must have been about 15 missed calls. Back then it was the landline. So we had an answering machine back then, and so it was like the phone would ring, and then all she would wait until all you hear is click, click, and then afterwards it was like this heavy sighing, and then it got to like, where on earth are you guys?
Wow.
So it was like, it wasn't just, she wanted to be friends with both of us, your dad and myself.
Okay.
It's like, where are you? Like, hold on a minute, we're like grown
I'll be like,
adults.
who are you talking to?
It's like, where are you?
You're not my parent.
And I'm like, this is crazy. I
Yeah,
said to
yeah.
your
For
dad,
me,
I am like,
straight away
I
after
am
that, like,
over this.
look-
And this person, it was so bad. I remember I was working in the secular, and the telephone lines to your desk was not publicized. That was internal.
Yeah.
So if you didn't work in the company, you wouldn't be able to, unless I gave it to you,
Okay.
you wouldn't know my number to
Your
my
extension,
desk.
yeah.
And one day I'm sitting at my desk, my phone rings,
Wow.
my office phone rings, and I answer it, and it's her. Talk about stalky. I was like, my first question to her, she chirpy, like I gave it to her. I'm like, how did you get this number?
Yeah.
And you know what she did? She phoned personnel. She lied.
Wow.
She told them she's a relative, and some tragedy or something with our family, and they gave out my landline, gave out the landline. And she would literally do stuff like that throughout. And it was years and years of constantly getting these messages from her, which I totally ignored. And then one day I said, you know what, I'm not going to ignore her messages anymore. I'm gonna take her call.
Yeah.
And so I did. I'm like, what do you want? That's how I was like cold.
Yeah.
I was direct. I'm like, what do you want? And she didn't know what to.
Outside your window, watching you eat dinner with the family.
Well, that's another story we'll talk about maybe if we've got time. But I literally just confronted her. I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing here. What do you want? And she had plans, you know. You guys know who I'm talking about. She'd come over the house. I remember one time she came over to stay.
Say it with your chest.
She actually came over to I think she had plans.
Say it.
She had plans for you and her daughter.
No, come on.
You know,
wait.
There was one time
okay,
I think she'd managed to talk herself into coming up. She talked herself into coming up to look after you lot during the school time. And she went as far as enrolling her child for a week.
I swear she went to my school for like a week.
She enrolled the child randomly.
I've never seen anyone do it ever since.
I didn't know that was possible. Yeah, but that's the kind of person she was. She was so manipulation. How do you put a child into a different school to the one that they're in for a week?
I remember that. I actually remember that.
Do you remember that?
Now you've got children, you're like,
how did they It's just weird, yeah. And it was just, thank God it's stopped. But it was just, you know, I don't even know she thought it was anything wrong with her. But that's weird. That's controlling and possessive. Yeah. And I think, you know, red flags is when someone displays control and they are trying to manipulate your life and they're manipulating the decisions. I'm a separate individual and I don't like claustrophobia in a relationship.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because if you were, for example, now in a relationship and that is your current reality, what do you do? Because
wait, explain it in terms of what?
So, like, say for example, you're married to somebody and you've
gone into
your
all
identity,
that far.
Like you're hearing mum speak, and you're like, oh, actually, that's actually my reality.
Oh, as a partner, you mean?
Like you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship.
It's worse when you got kids, really.
That's controlling, like where this person because. We can't be naive. We can make light of it.
Well, some people are in that.
Sometimes the red flags don't show until
you're actually in it.
Yeah. Well, they always show. But we don't look for them.
I think some people are really manipulative and they're good at manipulating, and they will wait till they've got over the line.
I think it's how we interpret that. It could be like they're overly caring, overly protective, and we call it protective. We call it a caring. We call it like a considerate person, when all the time, really, the mask or what's underneath the surface of that is somebody that is controlling. And I think some of the signs you look for is how they respond to other people in your space, because usually controlling type of people like that, they don't like other people to be prominent in your life, and they get insecure. And it could even be your family. They get insecure, and there's that edging, gradually separating isolating you. So there are signs there, and you have to really try and
know what it is sometimes. Like for example, say some people like marry women that's like, or men that aren't like attractive to the world, or might be overweight or something. But if that person loses weight and becomes like a newer person, a lot of people like that, they'll find issues with that, and they'll get insecurities, and that's when certain red flags might show that weren't there before.
Yeah,
some people want someone because no one else wants, like where you can almost have control over that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think necessarily from the jump you're always seeing those red flags.
Yeah,
but when they do show, that's when you should pay attention to them.
And some people I've heard as well, like some people, for example, that have got married and had children, said that their spouses switch after they've had a baby because they're jealous of that child.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's really common. Like, and I don't think that's spoken about, because I think that you know, obviously when it's just you and that person, great. It's you know, but life does change when you have children.
Yeah, but I've never been jealous of my kids.
No, but some people
some people are. I've read a lot of
jealous
stories.
of the amount of attention.
Yeah, like now you're not giving me the attention.
Yeah,
and you know the babies. I've read a lot of stories about that where the men get jealous of the. Now
they must have never wanted kids though.
Sorry,
they must have never wanted kids to be like.
Well, I don't know if they thought about it, or maybe they weren't 100% on board with having children, and now the child's come and they don't know.
But
you know,
takes both, right? There's
if it's
parts
your
of
first,
me I have to give to my child. There's parts you have to give to your child. It's like you're not sitting there waiting for you to put the child to bed. Like, that's very weird to me.
It is, but it happens. It's a reality.
Yeah,
it's a reality.
It's real.
Yeah, but there's so many different types of red flags there. You know, there are a lot of people with problems. That's all I can say.
But I don't think it's like, I remember having this conversation with one of the girls from our church, and she was trying to differentiate. She was basically like talking to somebody, and she was trying to differentiate between basically potential versus a dreamer. So, you know, guys that say that they're like doing stuff, or they're ambitious, or they're starting a business, or they're, you know, like everyone's starting a business nowadays. Everyone's a business owner. Everyone's an entrepreneur nowadays.
Yeah.
But she was like, how do you know the difference between obviously someone with potential? Because obviously, you know, everyone's got to start from somewhere. So
see if they actually got drive. Yeah.
So obviously everyone, you know, if you're just starting out a business, you know, you're starting from the ground up. You know, if you've not been given, you know, an investment or whatever, like you're starting from the ground. So I definitely believe in potential, but I think that there's definitely a difference between like having potential and then being a dreamer. Like, and for me, that's a red flag, because, you know, you see it. I've seen it over and over and over again where, you know, a guy is like, oh, like I'm starting this business, or I'm doing this, or I'm starting this new venture, and
they just really don't want to work.
They don't want to work, and it's just an excuse.
They're banking on this one,
and then they freeload off of their wife, and then it puts this huge amount of tremendous amount of pressure on the woman, and you see so many couples where they're not functioning to the best of their ability because this man refuses to work, and I think for me that's a major red flag.
That's a major thing. You know, your dad's sisters was married to one, and you know his thing was I want to be a musician, and the family was starving. I'm not even exaggerating. I remember going with your dad as teenagers, because we were young. I remember going there with bags of groceries. I mean,
if that's not a trigger for you to like.
But she's already married to him. She's got children for him.
No, but as the man, if someone's bringing groceries to your house,
but some men.
Oh, but he was like he was quite happy to take, and that was what was like for us. It was like, hold on a minute, you got no shame. But you know, but here's the worst part. There was one time, because what she would do, she would starve herself, and I remember the kids lived on Weetabix.
Wow.
That is because Weetabix filled you up. So the kids would get Weetabix, and the groceries we'd bring, we found out she was cooking him dinners. And there was one time she'd cooked him his dinner, and he's sitting there with the chicken and rice, and one of the kids came to ask, you know, to take some food, and he slapped their hand away. Wow. You never bought that chicken. You don't know how that chicken got on your plate. And your kids now, who haven't had dinner, they had Weetabix, want a piece of chicken, and you're running them.
Yeah.
But how many of us make allowances for toxic behaviour? Because that's the reality.
Yeah. But he was just a dreamer. I remember going to one of his shows, and he got booed off the stage. So, you know, hello, you're not good enough. Go get a 9-to-5 job or whatever. You the dream of being this musician. People are booing you off the stage.
And I think if you're in that situation, because I can think of people off the top of my head that's their reality. That's never okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a woman, like, yes, I think it takes two, especially in this day and age where the economy is like, it's so expensive. Everything's cost of living is so high. It's never been this high. I do think it takes, you know, we're not in the 50s anymore. Like, it does take two incomes. Like, it does take both of you working together as a team. But I think that at no point should the woman be the one carrying. Like, I think that you know, maybe I'm old school, but I think that there's roles that need to be played, and I think that the man has to bear the burden. I think women can be a higher earner, but I think ultimately the man has to carry that responsibility of providing.
It's not as. It's
and
not
I think
about,
that if you now have to substitute and constantly be the one carrying that and figuring that out, that's not your job to figure out.
No.
And I think that if that's your reality, you need to actually realize that that's a red flag. Like if he's been for the last 10 years starting a business or trying to have a side hustle or whatever, like
10 years is a long time.
it's a long time. If it's not working and it's not worked,
dismount.
If
the horse is dead,
you'll see the signs
dismount.
if it's progress over time, or
Yeah.
even 2-3 years, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, of course.
But even before going into that, you know, we're not talking young people. If you're in your 30s, 40s, and you're still starting,
not even that. I think you need to be,
you know, because I know guys they've not liked the statement I've made, but you know, they see it as materialistic. But I always said, you know, what have you got to show for your time on earth? You know, you should have some trail of what you've accomplished, you know, otherwise then you are just a dreamer. Yes, I understand it. If you just come out of college, university, you're in your 20s, you're just finding yourself and building. But when you're in your 30s and going on in your 40s and stuff like that, and you're still just starting stuff, what did you do before that? And what have you made? You know, you don't own a car, you don't own nothing. There should be something to show for your years on earth. And it's not me being materialistic, but how else am I going to know if you're just a dreamer or you're somebody that's an achiever? Because if something's not working, I always do that. I remember when, you know, we were using a platform for advertising, and we would go back and look after a couple of times of advertising on this medium. What was the response? If the response is low, okay, let's switch to something else, because we're not going to keep pouring money and time into that when it's not giving us the results we want.
I don't think there's anything wrong with chasing a dream or a business that you want to start at whatever age. Like Jeff Bezos started Amazon at 30. But I think it's important, if you have a family, whether you have a family or not, you should have a job that is bringing you income until that other dream you're chasing can outweigh that. I think that should be common knowledge in anything. You don't chase a dream working. How are you even going to fund the dream on what?
Yeah,
but you need to actually have something.
Especially if you
wife,
have
kids.
Yeah, but
you still be the provider.
Responsibilities. But even if it's going and working in Tesco's, stacking shelves at night, like
work,
whatever it requires, you've got to be willing to do that. And I think as women, we dismiss way too much, and we allow way too much.
Well, I think as women as well, we often are too lenient sometimes with that. And I get that, you know, supporting your husband's dream. I get that, you know, being there for them, you know, but if it's been 5 and 10 years and nothing still,
I think it's easy
he's
to say
not
that
got
now.
a job.
When you're in it, sometimes it can be like you don't even realize how much time's gone. And you can he can pressure you like, what, you don't believe in my dreams?
Yeah, but it's also that frustration of when you're in something, and if you've tried to say to this person like, go and get a job, and they don't, what do you do? Because it's like you're now stuck. You're in it. Like, I think that must be a really difficult place to be, because what do you do? You know, when you've got children, it's not like you can just pack up and leave. You know, and as Christians, you can't just leave. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're in it. So, for the person that is in that situation, like, what do you do? Like, how do you navigate your way out of that?
I don't know if you've not seen that film with Taraji P. Henson, where I think it might be where basically her husband's like, he's not really doing well, but he's chasing his dream, and she's sort of funding him, and then she sort of like leaves him, and then he sort of makes it, and he's got like a new wife. And then like it's like she gets really like bitter and spiteful about it. It's, I think what's the guy that does the movies where he dressed up as a grandma?
Tyler Perry.
Yeah, so I think it's a Tyler Perry film.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'll tell you
feel
what's
like maybe
called.
I've
Oh, I
seen
think
it.
I know the movie, and he is was Tandy Newton. Is that the one with Tandy Newton? She's like the cleaner in the office.
No,
Not that movie.
No, it's not that one.
Okay.
Who's Tandy
No, I
Newton?
think she's like a South African actress.
Oh, no, her.
No, I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with seeing potential in somebody. Like, I think you've also got to, as a woman, be patient. Like to allow
For how
it to unfold.
patient? For how long?
No, but I think that's the difference, and this is what I said. Going back to circling
Acrimony,
back
I
to
What's it called? Acrimony.
Acrimony. So yeah.
I think circling back to like the original point, like this conversation that was happening with this girl is the difference between a dreamer and someone having potential. Like, I basically ultimately the guy that she was talking to was very much a dreamer, and I said to her, I said she's very much a go-getter. She's very ambitious. She's actually getting married now. But I said to her, your life will be full of sorrow. I'm letting you know now, like based on what I've seen of him.
Oh wow.
And
she's marrying him?
No, she's marrying somebody else. No.
I'll be like,
no, but I said to her, based on what I've seen of his character, I think he's a nice enough guy. But I said, in terms of husband material,
that's a good word. Yeah,
there's
every man
and
is
that's the
husband
thing. You'll meet a
material.
lot of nice people, and I think
nothing wrong with them.
There's lots of nice people,
Yeah.
but like talking to somebody that's nice, and
well, it's just like not every woman is wife material.
No, exactly.
Well, at that time anyway, yeah.
And fast forward, he's not progressed. We probably had this conversation maybe. I don't think I even had Roma yet. So this is probably like 3 or 4 years ago. His life hasn't progressed at all. Like, she's very much progressed. She's got a career. She said to me when she was in university, her and a group of girls, they bought properties together that they now rent out. Like, that's somebody that's actually like a go-getter. She's not scared to put in the work. She's not scared to put in effort. And I said he will literally stunt the growth of your life, and he's gonna make your life. It will just you'll be very frustrated. And he might not be horrible. Like, he's not. I don't think he would ever somebody that's abusive or anything like that. But you have to find what fits for you. And I think that the red flag in that was that actually, like, he's very much a dreamer. Like, he sings from the song sheet of like, oh, I've got a business and I'm gonna be this and that. But the reality is his life's not manifesting that at all. So, that was a red flag for her, and sometimes it's not being afraid to highlight that in people's lives, and not being afraid to speak up for people. Like, for me, I was like, I love you enough to not let you go down that road. And I think sometimes it is speaking into people's lives, whether they choose to accept that or not. I think it's us being not scared to say, do you know what, like, for the sake of, because forever's a long time.
What if it's the opposite way around? Because I had a friend, and we saw characteristics about her behaviour.
Okay.
And, I never kind of put it down to warning the man to say, don't marry her. It wasn't until the wedding day. I was like... It was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to go. I mean, I've never thought to do this before, but I wanted to go out. We were abroad, and I wanted to go out and say to him, don't do it. Because behind the scenes, we were behind the scenes, just her getting ready. And it was this like hishy that was manifesting.
The what?
Like a she-devil.
Oh, I thought it was
Hishi.
I say Hishi. You gotta tell him. You gotta tell him.
No.
That ain't what you think.
But she was manifesting.
It was my dress.
Well, she, number one, bought a dress that was 2 sizes too small.
Okay.
And she insisted on us getting her in. And it was...
You're putting her back.
Literally, one person had one side of the dress, and we were trying
that looks even worse. You know, you're just like
Well, that's
overthrowing on the
what
top.
happened. So everything went up to get this zipper
That looks terrible.
to do up. So
Don't do
all
that,
of,
please.
all of this stuff was
Back
up. So she's like,
So when you squeeze the
no, she said to
toothpaste.
me, and I'm like, I'm getting traumatized now because she's like getting me to do things.
She like, stop
She's
that
like,
fat in.
yeah,
She
she's
said
like,
what?
she's like, stuff that fat in. I'm giving away the accent.
So she's American
was
based.
like,
Okay.
I was mortified.
Can we get a letter on the
I'm
name?
like, I don't want to hurt you. I've got my nails. I'm like, my nails. I can't do it.
Tie the ribbon to the truck.
Yes, I kind of like tried to escape the room, and then she calls me. She's like, can you stick my false eyelashes on? Now, I hadn't even started wearing lashes like that. So I was like, I don't even know how to put lashes on myself, let alone. So this is a wedding. She's not got a makeup artist. We're the makeup artists.
Did
so
you know that beforehand? Or...
Sorry?
Did you know that beforehand?
No. This is on the day. It was like this manifestation of a person that we'd seen glimpses of her.
Oh, yeah.
Manifest in terrible ways, but it wasn't until on the day because I was scrutinizing him. So when we first met him, I wanted to know everything about him. You're marrying my friend, you know, you've been married before.
He's the good guy.
So I'm giving him the third the third degree. I'm like, why did you divorce? And so, you know, I'm like going at him. So now when I'm seeing the other side, I'm like, hold on a minute.
It's the other
this about her. I'm like, he's probably the one that's going to be worse off in this relationship because she was just like.
Are they still married?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. I was really surprised. Maybe he was
happy?
the right one for her. Well, that's the other thing. I don't know.
You can't even judge it based on if you're married anymore.
No, you can't judge it because they're still married. Because being still married doesn't mean it's anything going on at home. You know,
divorce is just a breaking point.
Yeah.
Well, I went to someone else the other day, and it actually really like broke my heart, like the situation I saw. So I was walking back to the car, and this lady, like, I just smiled at her. It was a lady and her husband. And the way he was speaking to us, I'm presuming they've probably been married for a really long time, like usually at that age, you're not like just getting married. They probably looked like they were in their 70s. But she basically had, like, I don't know if it's like a disability where it's like her leg was spasming.
Okay.
So I was like, are you okay? Do you need help? And she obviously kind of smiled at me, and he's like, for goodness sake, don't smile at people. Like, and he literally, like, the way he was speaking to her, like, I actually FaceTimed Jerome because I was like, you have to see this. I was like, should I do something? Like, what should I do? Yeah. Because it was so bad, like, the way he was speaking to her. Like, he literally was, like, just, like, on her, like, just abusing her. But obviously she couldn't move her. She physically couldn't move her leg. So I presume, like, I don't know if you've ever had, like, a spasm, like, where the muscles, like, lock up. So it's obviously she's trying to move her foot forward, but she obviously can't walk. And then I guess, like, when the spasm releases, then you can just, like, walk as normal. And he's like, for goodness sake, just walk. But he was so abusive to her. Yeah. Like, he was literally just, and this was in public. And this was in the car park. And I was, like, horrified because I'm, like, watching this man, like, literally, like, taking her to pieces. And she just looks so broken, like, so broken. And then obviously, like, eventually, like, she's obviously not doing it on purpose. I'm sure she would walk if she could walk. I guess the spasm released and she carried on walking. But it was just, for me, I was like, just because you've stayed married,
that's what
you've stayed together,
sad.
It doesn't equal happy. Like, it doesn't.
No. And she's probably been in that relationship
and
for
I
a
almost
long
like
time.
wanted to be like, if you like, I'll help you. Like, don't stay in this. Like, it's
there's a way out.
And it
but
was.
Do you remember
really
that
sad.
time? It was years ago. We were all in the car. We were in Knightsbridge, and your dad was driving.
Yeah.
And there was this guy. He was like, I think he was hitting the girl in the head. And this is broad daylight. Everybody, you know, middle of the day. People are driving, and we were like going to your dad, stop the car, because we wanted to jump out, go and rescue her. She literally, the girl was like cowering, and he was just like, he did not remember where he was. And the way, my thought was, my goodness, if you're that abusive outside, you must be so dangerous
that
inside.
was my thing, and I don't know if he ever, I don't know, it could just be where it's like a verbal abuse thing, and I think also recognizing the types of abuse that do take place in relationships.
There's mental abuse.
Like, you can see he had so, like, mentally broken her down. And he was so verbally abusive, like, and that's the thing, just because somebody doesn't necessarily physically put their hands on you, it doesn't dismiss abuse, and I think that there are so many.
That's what
forms
most
of
people think
abuse.
abuse is physical.
Exactly.
But the mental, for me, I think mental abuse
It's awful.
is awful, and I think it's worse because it's almost like people feel trapped and they don't feel they can leave that
because it doesn't seem validated,
or they feel like I
devalue you.
deserve it.
They'd be like, "Who's gonna love you?
Yeah.
Like you're ugly."
You
or
break somebody down.
they break them
you
down to the point where they
them down.
like this. They think this is the best place for them.
And I think that that's a major red flag in a relationship. If somebody literally makes you feel like you're worthless, and I think it goes back to that manipulation thing. Some people do it in a way that it is a way to control, but they control you by breaking you down, and they make you feel like you have no self-esteem, like you have no value. And because it isn't a thing where they're like literally beating you up or they're slapping you around, you don't feel like you have it's valid to voice that or to tell somebody,
or they make you feel like you can't tell.
You
know, and it's an awful thing. I remember when we were in St. Vincent one year, we were visiting with your grandmother, and there was this dog that came around, and it was just so scared of people because of abuse. And we were trying to feed it, but it was so scared of humans as the ones that was abusing. And we had to put the food down and walk away. And by the end of the week, that dog was literally coming and eating out of our hand because we had developed a trust. And even after we left, his mum said that the dog would come around looking for us. But, you know, that abuse was over time, you know, so someone was abusing the animal. And, you know, we look at animals, and if someone's abusing animals, we think, how cruel. But we don't often think that with a human. How cruel, because it's cruelty. Cool. You know, when someone's speaking, and there may be people listening right now who someone speaks cruelty to you, what they're saying to you, what they're saying about you. And that was what was in that documentary. There was one of the women that was in the ward with this woman that had been killed. She testified, one of the other mothers, because she was in a maternity ward. They didn't say why she was admitted at that stage in her pregnancy, but she was in the maternity ward, and he was swearing at her. He was calling her names. He was just using profanity. And I think one of the ladies said, I hope that you and the baby die in childbirth.
Wow.
You know, so the abuse is cruelty, and if you're in that relationship, you owe it to yourself to get out. You owe it to yourself to get out, irrespective of if there's children involved. You owe it to them and to yourself to get out, because she never got out. Eventually he took her life, you know.
But I think what's really sad is obviously, you know, working with children, and we work with so many different children and families. Like, I've seen over the years, you know, the difference between children that come from a really happy home, and you can see, and that's the thing, children are they're the telltales, you know, and they may not necessarily say what's happening, A, B, and C,
but their behavior
manifests itself in a way that you can tell. And there's been so many occasions, unfortunately, where the dynamic of the home and what goes on and transpires in the home very much spills over onto the children, and they very much are a product of what's happening in the home and when there's dysfunction. And I think that's what we have to be really conscious of, that okay, if you're choosing to stay in it, that's fine, and if that's the decision that you've made, but you owe it to your children and their happiness and their well-being, because at the end of the day, children are just, they never asked to be here. You know, they're just a byproduct of obviously the decisions and choices that you've made. But they're very much receiving, you know, you just because it may not necessarily happen to them, they're very much receiving the environment that you're in, and they're very much prone to obviously carry that. And you know, I've seen it with so many kids that they very much carry it, and they very much carry the burdens of their parents.
One of the signs is that kids are withdrawn and they lack confidence. Because I find when children are in a healthy home, the home is healthy in the environment, there's love in the environment, they ooze with confidence. You know, I was saying to your dad the other day, you know, your grandchildren feel like they own church.
Oh my gosh.
They just stroll about regardless of what's going on. They like with no shyness.
No fear,
They'll-
nothing. Like,
They're like,
you're like,
on,
where's this one?
yeah, it's
On the
like
stage.
Yeah,
on the
literally.
stage.
So we dress them all the same, so we know
Yeah.
what colour to look for.
But that's when kids are in a healthy environment. They're confident.
Yeah.
They're not afraid.
Yeah.
And I think when kids are withdrawn and
Yeah.
they're almost like that animal that I told
Yeah.
you, the dog that we saw, it's just like it when it comes around people, they like something maybe that child is just super shy, but usually children ooze confidence. They have confidence when they're in a healthy environment because it's nurtured. That their personality is nurtured, and that's what I love about our grandkids. Is that the personalities that come out because there's no suppression.
Yeah.
There's no suppression in there. They're not, as soon as they, come out of themselves, they're not squished.
Yeah.
So they're allowed to be themselves. But we had a couple of red flags. Some people wrote in.
Yeah.
Do you want to read Barija's one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, so the first one.
She had a
where
few.
are we? Yeah, she had a few. The first one, a Christian guy once told me soul ties aren't real. You can only get soul ties if you've had a baby with the person.
He trying to set you up.
Yeah.
Trying to make you a baby mother.
Yeah. I'm so tired. Tell me where you read that. You're
my gosh.
reference.
Yeah.
I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Honestly, second one, I went on a date.
You know
with
what he's trying to do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember this girl saying to me once, this guy said he needs to make sure before he can marry her, he needs to make sure she can have children.
Is it?
Eh? You guys math, yeah. This math.
It ain't method.
Well, I don't know if it's just men, but the whole, I don't know what they're trying to do just to get what they want. Is crazy.
So she had to prove. How else do you prove but to now get pregnant? And before I marry you, I need to make sure you're fertile.
Okay. I'm sure there's like tricks that you can do for that. I'm sure you can go to the doctor.
Yeah, book a clinic. Go clinic.
Yeah, I'm sure.
See how many eggs there is.
Yeah.
What? Anyway.
Next one. I went on a date with a guy once and he was acting like a baller. I then saw loads of texts coming through on his phone saying things like, sorry, bro, I can't lend you anything this month. How much do you want to borrow, etc., etc. If he didn't pretend, I would have understood, but that's a big red flag
There's
for
a
me.
lot of
Why
you
lie
out there.
for?
Is there?
Why are
There's
you
a lot of
studying?
you
Go
out
Like,
on. Expound on that one, Dom.
I had a friend in college like this. As
Past tense.
What?
Past
Well,
tense.
yeah. He was these people you learn on the way through life to cut off.
You meet them.
And then once he actually delivered my Uber Eats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's like, I went to get the bag. He's like, dumb. I was like,
Now you know where I live.
oh my god. I was like, mum's anyway, it's fine. But it's like these ones. He's always like,
Oh no.
oh, can you lend me this? But he wants to dress in designer, head to
Spend all your
toe.
money.
You want
wearing your
Balmain,
money.
Balenciaga, and this one.
Balenciaga.
But it's like these ones, they show their signs. So from time, I think I went on holiday with him when I was like 18.
Oh, that always is a revealer.
And it's like, I was
Holidays.
like, I'll give it back to you this one.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I don't want all this lending, and you're chasing people like you owe them
Yeah.
money. It's like, you got that money,
And
you
they
got that
always
money.
get offended with you.
Yeah, it's
when you
like-
ask for it back.
Well, they don't respond to you, and you're chasing them down. But
Yeah.
it's those people.
But guys,
Very
if you're
toxic,
good,
man.
don't ask. My thing is, if you ask me out, you are paying.
Yeah, but
I
you're borrowing
never-
money for
You
date.
never invited me. I never asked myself out anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you've invited me somewhere,
But why
you
is
better have
he?
the
Why
means
is
to
he
pay for it.
pretending to the girl? Why
Like he's
would a
got
guy
this-
pretend to a girl that he's got all of
That's just not
this?
cute,
Yeah, all
guys.
this,
That's
guys.
that is like
Stop borrowing your friends'
that's a major
watches.
ick.
Yeah, and you
Or-
stop.
or wearing
borrowing
a
your
fake
trains,
one.
shoes,
Or wear
and
fake ones.
Is
fake
that-
chains.
Is
Is
that
that
what
green
they
up?
do?
Just stop all this, man. Be you.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, they're gonna realize you're not who you say you
Yeah.
are. Just be honest.
And you
They'll
have
probably
to
like you more.
maintain that.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
That's a hard thing to maintain if
It's
that's
a
not who
facade.
you are.
What are you trying to sell?
Yeah.
Yourself.
Literally.
Yeah, buy
Borrowing
me,
your friends'
choose
cars
me.
and this and
Yeah,
that. Come
just
on,
don't
man.
do that.
Oh, wow.
Don't do that.
We're all too grown for that.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on, man.
That's not-
You're not
that's not
impressing no
cute.
one.
And then it's like, where's the car next week? Where's the car?
Yeah, you start one
now
day.
you
You want to go
now you have to
Hakkasan.
tell another
You want to
lie.
go Novikov. Wait, what next week? What have you got next week?
Nando's.
And then no one's lending you money next week. Pleasing man.
That's what I mean. Like, and I always say it to Ashley, who's my son. He's 19. Obviously, like he's in that like dating. I said, Ashley, I said, recognize where you are in your life.
Position.
Be yourself.
I said, you're a 19-year-old university student. First of all, I said, at your age, go to Nando's. Do you know what I mean? Like, go to Pizza Express. That's your level right now. Do you know what I mean?
Just
Like, obviously, he likes nice food, so he wants to go to Hawksmoor and all of those places. But when you're dating a girl, I said, don't get her used to those things.
You know,
every
listen,
time
exactly.
you're expecting
When I started
it quick
dating Dish,
Yeah.
she got called Gaga.
she got
Now
that.
it's been a period of time. You get a nice.
Yeah.
I'm not starting. Hey, you
Well,
want
you
her
say-
mess?
Sure you-
We're
Well,
not going
you
from there.
set a bar for yourself, don't you? It's always harder to come down
Yeah.
than it is
Exactly.
to go up.
Yeah.
You know, when we
Just
used to
small,
do the
small steps.
magazine, we
That's it.
started with 12 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do 12
And you
pages
grow.
instead of
But
starting.
I remember Ashley used to read, and Ashley's like one of those people. When he likes you, it's like he'll give you the whole entire world.
Yes.
So
Like, yeah.
Literally, ain't got it
And I'm
easy.
my
like,
pocket.
so he said he really liked this girl.
Oh
First
my
of all, I said
gosh.
I don't like this girl. I don't like this girl.
Oh dear.
We found out later that this girl was talking to his other friend.
Uh-oh.
So anyway, she's glad to take the day.
What did he buy?
He took her to
Oh
I think
dear.
All Star Lanes,
Hmm.
and then so they went to
Not
All
even
Star Lanes
Hollywood
in
Bowl. Small boy.
Westfield, and then they went to I can't remember where they went to eat, but he took her somewhere like decent.
Mm.
Then my girl says she needs to go to Primark to buy stuff, and she happily let Ashley purchase the items in Primark.
Why
I
didn't you
said,
wait outside?
Why are you do? I said, why are you waiting?
You
I
messed
said,
up.
why are you buying her
Yeah.
stuff in Primark?
I'd have been standing
I said, I
outside.
don't care. It's
you know, you're done.
Primark. The fact is you don't buy girls' clothes. Of course, she's glad for you.
Mm.
And so
But you
anyway,
know-
so I said,
yeah.
you never do that again. So anyway, he found out afterwards that
Hmm.
she's talking to his friend as well.
And he's buying her a Zara.
And he's buying her clothes. I said,
Oh,
you
wow.
I said no, that's a red
Vanessa.
flag.
That's a user.
We don't
Girls.
do that. I
She's
said,
a
she's a
user.
user.
I'm glad I'm
Yeah.
not from this area now.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Boy,
No,
these
but it's
girls.
always been there. You know, I always say to girls, if you're not interested in a guy, don't take anything from him
Oh, but it's
because you're
different now, Mum.
sending a wrong
They're glad for
signal.
it.
It's very different now.
Yeah,
This-
if I-
This social
you know,
media
if-
thing,
if-
well,
Yeah.
girls want from straight out of school, they
Yeah.
want Louis Vuitton
Yeah.
and Rolex watch
Yeah.
and this and that.
Yeah.
Mm.
They don't want to work for
And
nothing.
girls will do anything to
Yeah.
get without having to
But
do
that's,
Yeah.
anything.
that's nothing new. You know, from the time I was a teenager, I would not, if I was not interested. I remember this guy giving me all these rings. I said, I don't want them.
Well, it's a different
Because
generation.
no, but that was just me. That was me. That wasn't the rest of the girls. Other girls would take stuff. That's probably why he felt. Whoever's rings they were, wherever they
Yeah, I'm
came
teething.
from, he's offering me. You know, we're not talking shot rings. He's got these rings. I said, I don't want them. I'm not. I don't see you like that.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not interested in a guy, don't lead him on.
But girls now, they want you to spend minimum £300 on the first date.
Yeah.
£200.
£300.
Where did that come
For
from?
what? I
Who
don't know
said?
you.
Do you know what the saying is?
No.
Every girl wants a soft life now. Everyone
Soft
wants
life.
soft life.
Oh,
Soft
really?
life.
Soft life.
It's the softest
Wow.
of lives they want. They don't
Wow.
want to touch nothing. They don't want to.
Yeah,
They just
they
want to
wanna
post their
work with
pictures
them,
on
yeah.
holiday. They go show their man. They just got emoji of his face.
Yeah.
They don't want to show him. They're just glad for the life that they have.
Wow.
That's what life they want.
I'm sorry, but that's a shallow girl.
They're all
That
shallow.
is
It's
a
very,
shall-
very shallow market
very
right
shallow.
now.
That's-
The market very shallow. Better get your toe wet. That's how shallow it is. This
But
is-
no, but that lacks character for me. That is
Well,
that for
you're,
me.
You're
beca-
speaking from a season.
Yes, it's
point of
different.
view,
Man, but even my friends
perspective.
now single is like, it's hard out here, you know. Right? Ain't nothing out here. Just,
yeah.
it's like every woman just wants.
Yeah.
There's no
But the
substance.
But
red
I
flag
think
that
al- I
red
think
flag
also
for men
are,
though.
no, but I think also men are glad. They're happy to take as well. We live in a generation where men are
It's
happy to take
both
from
ways.
women.
It's true.
So
That's
it's-
always been
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
until you're ready to settle down, then you can't find nothing. You
That's
know,
always
in-
been
in
as
that-
well.
I feel
Men,
sorry
it's
for you,
always
sorry,
been
I pray for you.
something. But I think that's
So
a
go out
red
where you
flag
can.
on both sides. If a guy is willing for you to buy him presents, and you can't buy love, let's put it
No.
that way. You can't buy love. There's no amount of gifts and money that's going to make somebody love you more. And I think when we realize that, and why would I want to go into a relationship
Yeah.
that's just based on what you can do for me?
Also, what you start, you have to sustain.
Well,
If
yes.
that's how you're, if that's the way you feel like you need to keep somebody,
Mm.
that's a very expensive route to go. And unless you have that kind of provision and funds,
Yeah.
you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you feel like you need to
Mm.
impress that person and that they can't accept you for
For who you
are,
are. Yeah.
then don't even that person's not for
Mm.
you. Because if they can't genuinely accept you for you, then that's not for you. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
I saw a guy once that didn't want me to tell anyone our location. The way I exited quickly, please. I don't want to end up on ITV News.
Why would you not want to show your location?
Guys, like, I think more than anything in this generation, we have to learn to be safe, because there are just too many weirdos out in this world nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Like, and, you know, for me, I need to know who do you belong to, because there's too many, like, online dating, things like that, where I've got no point of reference to who you are. Like, there's no, like, nobody, like, if I don't know you or nobody knows who you are, you need to, there's a Life 360, give somebody your location if you're going out on a first date, whether you know them or not. Like, make yourself accountable to people.
Secretly screenshot a picture of him in the registration of
I
his
need
car.
to know everything.
Send it to somebody.
And don't let him pick you up, girls. You know, like, I think that's the difference between, because obviously, you know, we're taught in old school days to be chivalrous and, you know,
he should pick
a guy
you
should
up.
be a gentleman. Yeah. No, like, until I know who you are, you don't know where I live. Wow. You're not coming into my to where I live. Like, I will meet you at whatever the location is, because I'm sorry, like, if I need to exit, I can exit.
That's true.
By myself.
But you don't need to be looking over your shoulder when you go to your front door either.
Exactly. Like, you don't need to know where I live. That's information
until
that
you know that what that guy is like. But it's girls as well, you know. If you know, even as a guy, you probably won't want them to know where you live
and
until
also
you
check your, like, I've heard this now quite a few times. Girls, if you're going out, really, I have to emphasize safety, because I've heard this a few times where guys will drop an AirTag into a girl's bag, etc., where they can then track and follow you. Yes, so Apple has a safety feature to say, I think I picked up your keys one time.
It contacts you. It
and
tells
you. And has an AirTag on your keys.
Okay.
And I was like, it kept bringing up this, like, alert to say that there's, like, an AirTag. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, on the
and then when I checked, I'd accidentally picked up your keys.
Yeah, because my keys have an AirTag.
Yeah,
on it.
So, but obviously, so Apple's put that feature on as a safety measure, as a
people
safety
using it as tracking
precaution.
devices.
But people are using it as tracking devices. Like, now,
and it's just such a small disc, you wouldn't even notice it. You can drop it in someone's bag and you wouldn't even know unless you look for it.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be someone you're out on a date with. If someone saw you, for example, out, they could easily, and they had an ill intention towards you and wanted to obviously follow you, they could easily do that. And that's something that
can
is
you
now
sound
happening.
it though if it's not yours?
If
it once it messages you saying it's there, can you actually like where you found this? You know, where it shows you exactly where it is.
So I was obviously, it said to me that it
you?
just told me. So, but obviously I was like, where is it? So I was like, started to look for it. I don't think it releases a sound. I don't know. I'm not like tech savvy like that, but.
So Apple has got something to block the signal?
No, so it basically tells you as an
alert.
So
if there's
but then I don't know if that happens
if it's moving
if you're
with
not
you.
an Apple user. So if you're obviously not, if you
Yeah.
have like a Samsung
if you
or
don't have a phone
another.
with you or whatever.
Well, the other thing is just basically check your purse after if you've
it's
been
in
out
your
with
car.
someone.
It's in your car. Someone gets in your car.
It's true. It's true.
You can put it in
Wow.
the
That's
door,
scary.
under your seat.
That's scary.
Yeah,
That's pretty scary.
pros and cons of technology.
Honestly, guys, be safe.
I've got
safe.
two. I've got two here. It says when someone promises to do something without being asked but doesn't do it. I feel like there's a lot of people that do that though.
Make promises.
Yeah, you know when people go out their way to. I even got a scenario. I can't really talk about that, but it's like when someone's like, okay, it wasn't even about me, but there was someone that was like onto someone like to help them with an event they had going on. Like, let me just do it. I'll bring this bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry, I'll manage. It's like, no, I'll do it. Give me something to do.
Yeah.
And they took on that role, and then I was like, okay, just drop this here by 2:00. So it's like 2:30 now. Talking about 2:45. It's like, hey, where are you? Oh, I forgot. I completely forgot. I'm just at home.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, and this is like I told you. I can't really go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, and but she's like 2 hours later, still not even there. You live 15 minutes down the road.
Oh my goodness.
And this is like an important thing in terms of what it's about. And it's just like that's one thing that annoys me. If you've not even that I've asked you to do something, you've gone out your way to offer to do something, and you can't even have the decency to either tell me you can't do it in advance.
Well, we had a situation like that. So we had somebody who said that they could get us really good discount on some equipment, some musical equipment like speakers and stuff like that.
I already know.
And so your dad transferred the money to them. I forgot how much it was, but we knew this person.
Never came. Didn't even get a mic.
But we knew this
Not the
person's
earpiece.
track record because they'd done things like that to people before, where they'd
Yeah.
taken money from people, and even we had people turn up at our building
Looking for him.
looking for this individual. So your dad probably thought he wouldn't do it to him, whatever. And when we why did we do that? We said, you know what, send it back. Like they didn't even have
Really
it
spent
for
it.
an hour.
Yeah.
Gone.
It wasn't even an
To pay
hour.
off the other debts.
So,
That's a hard life to
so
live
we're
in,
like,
man.
you
People
know,
ask you like that.
can just send it back. And I remember we wouldn't let them off the hook. We were like, we will meet you.
Yeah.
We gave you cash, bring the cash back. So it wasn't like a bank transfer, it was cash. So we said, we'll meet you. They're like, I'm just at the train station,
So wait
which
there.
was like 10 minutes away. And we insisted. It took them about 3 hours. We were parked up for 3 hours waiting, and we figured that person's running around
Trying to
probably
get the money
borrowing
back.
from everyone because we just kept the pressure on.
Yeah.
We want it back today, and they must have been running around all over the place borrowing the money, and eventually
were the flags
bought it.
there?
Sorry,
Were the flags there before?
the flags were there.
Yeah.
The flags were there. We knew it was our fault. We
Yeah.
knew. We knew that individual's track record. Yeah,
That track record, that individual you're talking about was a compulsive liar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And that
we
was
knew,
a red
but we
flag.
all knew
That was their character.
Yeah.
that was their
personality
character.
trait.
We all
Yeah.
knew that, And you're talking about people promising things. I remember somebody promising to do somebody's wedding, somebody's big day,
Oh.
and no, done it. No, so
Well, as in
I'm gonna do
media.
a wedding planner.
Oh, okay.
I'll be a wedding
Oh, yeah.
wedding planner. Wedding
Uh,
planner.
Yeah.
The people turn up and nothing.
That's bad though, because that's like a.
That's your
That's the whole
day.
structure of the
That's your
day.
day.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And do you remember
Once
that one?
again, that's why you hire professionals. Though.
There was I think the chairs. I think there was one you were trying to help redeem it. I can't remember, you were doing something
I
at that
assisted
event
with
as
it,
well, but you were
yeah.
trying to rescue.
I assisted with the wedding, and basically this. I mean, yeah, I just think if you don't know what you're doing,
Don't
take on.
volunteer
That's
to ruin
that's,
someone's day.
That's it's too important of an event to get
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah.
and if you're not qualified, and I think that's the problem. There's a lot of everyone wants to be something, and
Everybody
you know,
wants to.
everyone
I've
wants to be
seen
a
weddings where the
planner.
dress is like
Yeah.
someone volunteer. Your friend
And
volunteers.
I think the
and
thing
they've
is,
never
like,
made a wedding
your
dress
wedding
before.
you do once,
Yeah.
and I think that
yeah, don't let someone
you
mess it
don't
up.
want to, unless you're a qualified planner, and I've got track record of what you've done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not trusting you to do my wedding. I wouldn't.
Or my dress.
Or my dress, I'd rather. And
Yeah.
also, like, it's when you let friends do things, it makes it very difficult to then be able to say, like, I'm not happy with that.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes, like, as
Especially
much as
if
you
they're
want
offering to do it for free.
yeah, but also as much as sometimes you want to obviously help people that you know, like, they have their own businesses, etc. Sometimes, like, I always say it's better to use somebody that's outside, because
Yeah.
then I can tell you if I'm not happy with
Yeah,
the service that
yeah.
you've given, because it then makes it very awkward. And I know a lot of friendships, end.
Unless you could, like, I know, like with your sister, when she was getting married, the person that I'd asked to make the wedding dress, I knew she could make dresses and she made them really well, but I knew she had a track record of sewing the bride's dress on her while she's in the car on the way to the church. So I commissioned her to do your sister's dress, but every week she had to bring me the whole dress up to what she'd done. And I insisted on having the completed dress in my possession 2 weeks before. I had the red flags, but I knew how to monitor that. And sometimes we don't know how to monitor it. I was able to say, I want to see the progress.
And
I want to see the progress.
I think that's a really important point, Mum, because I think that, for example, I know you could have a family member, for example, that they display red flags, but you obviously, they're your family, so you have to live with them. And I think it's knowing how to live with people according to knowledge. And I think that that's a really good point, that, for example, you might have an in-law, or, that's, very meddling, or they've displayed red flags, or for whatever. I think it's knowing how, if you have to have that person still in your life, it's knowing how to deal with that person according to knowledge. Like, how do I obviously still keep them in my life, but still put boundaries in place to make sure that they don't obviously cross lines, and keep them at a distance, depending on who they are in your life. I think that's really important, and I think that's a really important skill to develop.
It is.
And I think boundaries are such an important thing. Knowing where to put boundaries, how far people can come, and how far they feel like they can come. I think that if you've got, for example, an in-law that's really meddling, that's really trying to be involved in your life,
or take control,
and it's a lot of people's stories.
But that's one of the places we often just overlook red flags, is within family. We know them, and we know what they'll do. Even you'll get family members who'll sabotage if you give them prior information into what you're going to do. They'll sabotage it. There are people that will do things like that. There's certain people, if you're doing a surprise thing, you'd never tell them because they're not
guaranteed to ruin it.
They're not forgetful. It's just their little spitefulness. So there's family members, what they are, and I think sometimes we don't label red flags in family because we think, it's family. But if there's behavior, like if you've got a family member that has a jealousy or insecurity issue, and
that's really common.
It's common
because some people, especially within family, they're happy as long as you're not doing better than them. But the moment that you kind of
begin to excel,
or they deem you more successful, that's when you see the manifestation. And sometimes, like Dominic said, it's not always you see it at the beginning. Sometimes it's further on down the line,
or when you get married and stuff.
Certain things are triggers. Like, I know I've heard things that I'm like, wow, like I wouldn't have even have thought like that. But if that's somebody's insecurity, then it's gonna come out. They're gonna. And that's usually the thing. Like, it will manifest itself in some way.
And it's funny, now we're having this conversation. I remember a friend I had that had a jealousy, insecurity issue, but I didn't see it because I guess I wasn't looking for it, or I didn't label it as that. I didn't put the information together, because I remember when your dad came into the scene and he observed the individual, he's like, how did you not see that? I'm like, see what?
Sometimes people see things you don't see from that.
Yeah, so it took somebody outside, and then this person just totally unraveled. I was like, oh my God, where did that come from? And this whole meltdown happened, and I was like, I didn't know that was there. I just did not see that there. And I confronted them on it. I'm like, you do know you have a jealousy problem. And I didn't even realize it was literally like, if we were going on a break, I'd have a suitcase, but this person would have 3. And the whole point of the extra clothes was that if you came down and thought I look cute, you go and get changed so that you looked cuter. And I'm like, that's insane. Who does that? Who has time for that? And it was just everything. And I didn't see it, because they were I thought they were pretty good at masking it, but it took somebody else to see that. And even with confronting that, the person admitted, you're right, I do have this problem. But basically they couldn't change. And it just, you can't keep a relationship like that, because that was always going to be there. And to the extent, even up until I renewed my vows for our 40th anniversary, I still invited that person. And at the time I was on Facebook and all the social media, and I know people that were like, we didn't invite, people that weren't friends but acquaintances that knew us. Our wedding pictures popped up everywhere. And this is how deep this person's jealousy ran. They came off of Facebook. They came off social media, so they couldn't see it. So they couldn't see they were okay until my invitation arrived. Because remember, my invitations were really nice, but I invited them verbally, but then posted out the invitation. And they were okay up until then. I think like 2 weeks before they cancelled. And it was just, the only reason was jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because they said like, oh, we'll make a holiday of it. We'll go over to France afterwards. But then they know me and they know how I work, and they knew.
Too much.
Well, the problem with that individual was that she could not handle me being a center of attention, which you are at your wedding because
Yeah,
you're
of
the
Bride.
the bride,
Yeah.
and she couldn't handle that. It would
The
have been
focus on you.
everyone looking at me and not her.
I feel like weddings are great tales to filter
Oh my gosh.
friendships, and
Absolutely.
if I could get married every month, I would, just to filter out
The
friends.
filter. Well, it's not just the wedding. We were
Having children
actually
as well.
Yes.
at someone's wedding, and we
Yeah.
were seated at a table. And you know, as you do, you get chatting with the people on your table. And this girl was sitting next to me, a very successful young lady. She was a lawyer. Her and her husband both in law, doing well. So they immediately bought their house. They were in that financial position. They started a family straight away. So within a year, they'd got married. They bought a house. They had the first baby. So she said she met her best friend that goes back. They'd gone back years. So she went out for lunch, met the friend, and she, all excited to announce her pregnancy. So she said to her friend, oh, I just wanted you to be the first to know I'm expecting a baby. And
That's
the
it.
friend just did this whole big wobbler in the restaurant. She stood up and she's like, I can't take anymore. I can't take anymore. And she had a total meltdown because it's too much. You got married, you bought your own house, now you got a baby, I can't take anymore. And she was still reeling from that because I guess the flags may have been there, but she didn't see them. But that friend was jealous.
You really
of
wouldn't know until you.
it
'Cause
all.
obviously, you've never done that before in
Yeah, of
life.
course,
It's
yeah.
the first time you get married. It's
Yeah.
the first time you're having kids. It's,
That's
you know,
like
like
that
it's
now.
you don't know what
Yeah.
people's reactions are going to be.
Yeah.
Like
That's what
I
I'm saying,
remember
it's not
someone
always
saying to
science.
me,
Yeah.
I think I was pregnant with Roman, I think it was. And obviously, like, I knew this person had, like, obviously been trying to have children and they wanted children
Yeah.
for a really long time. And, like, her first thing that she said to me was, like, oh, you've put on so much weight. Like,
Wow.
first of all,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pregnant. Like,
Oh, wow.
but it wasn't a congratulations. It
Yeah.
was, like, and I think that's the thing. It, like, literally, like, kind of just spews out of people. I think
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
can't
it's just
help
there. It's
it.
like balls over.
Yeah.
It does.
You know what I mean? It's just
It's
Very
just that
sad.
That's how
one
it
little
is.
thing that flicks it
it's
over
just
the
people
edge.
aren't happy with where they are, and
Yeah.
that's you're just that mirror that shows them
Yeah.
where they are in life,
And I
nothing's
think that's
changed. and-
Or
something
what they
that's-
don't have.
I think
Yeah,
that that's something
exactly.
that you also can't control. Like, obviously, everyone has a different fertility
Yeah.
journey. Like, you know, some people literally, you and Kadisha, like,
Yeah,
look
like
at each other and get pregnant. Like, but what I'm saying is that obviously, that's you have to be okay with that journey. Do you know what I mean? That you're on, like everyone, and it's understanding that everyone does things in different
Yeah.
times. Like,
Yeah.
some people buy a house straight away. Some people buy it 10 years later. Some people get married at 25. Some people get
But
married
do
at 40.
guys get that? You know,
I think guys do feel like certain ways, or it might not be as much as women, but I think what you have to realize is it's nothing to do with you. The issues are within that person
Yeah.
and what they have to deal
But
with.
do
so-
guys manifest it?
How
So,
do
like,
how
in
do they
terms of, like,
manifest?
Because
Yeah.
obviously for women, it's like most women that I know, they've always wanted to get married.
Yeah.
You know, most
Well,
women that I know have
marriage, a
always
house,
wanted to be a mother.
marriage, house, and a baby. You know, that's.
Well, I
the-
think I don't know. It's well, obviously I had that my friend I grew up with in church that I was friends with up till the wedding and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think for certain people, it's like I don't think anyone thought I'd be like the first one to get married or anything. 'Cause I wasn't like in like, multiple different long relationships or anything. But I think when I knew, and everyone was probably didn't think it would last or whatever. And then we got engaged. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And they get married the year after. And it's
Yeah.
like, I think those
Have a
things
baby
can
the
be
year
to people
after.
like, yeah, it's like happens too fast. It's like too much for
Yeah.
some people. It's
Yeah.
like there's no warning.
I think some people feel like that left behind feeling.
yeah, it's
That
it
must
literally
be, yeah.
is. It's a left behind feeling
Yeah.
where they feel like, whoa, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch up on the
Yeah.
previous thing, and
yeah.
you're now on the next thing. It's
Yeah.
like
But isn't
Focus
that
later.
the-
You're not
isn't-
thinking about where they are,
Isn't
like,
that
for them it's
ball more in a
constant.
guy's court though? Because if you want that, you're usually the one that
I
has
don't
to
think it's as easy as
initiate.
that,
no,
though.
but it's
like,
not. It's not even
Well, I
you
guess
just
gotta find the person.
yeah. And what, you're gonna get married just to
Just
keep
to
up with
say you get
someone?
married,
It's just
yeah.
anyone. But I mean, you can do that. But I think it's just it's a lot of things. People, some guys can be funny about how you dress or how you look or where you drive and things like that. You know, You get guys maybe even key your car and things like that, but it's just. I think everyone. It's as a human. I think people. It's how you deal with those issues. Whether it pushes you to do better or it puts you deeper in a hole of of jealousy and hate and insecurities. Yeah.
Okay, we've got another one. This one is. She says, while sitting with my team over a belated Christmas dinner event, one of the team said how they'd gone out of their way to pretend to their husband that they'd walked the dog. They didn't want to go out because it had been raining all day, so instead put their coat out in the garden to get wet as if they'd been outdoors. That's very calculated, first of all. They then proudly say, I'm very good at lying. My husband said that too.
Wow.
Bearing in mind this is a member of my team who had previously accused me of bullying, harassing them when challenged on their performance. This is a major red flag for me.
Wow. If you're lying about walking a dog, you're going to be lying about a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But you know,
to put your jacket out in the garden.
That's
go for the walk. Go get umbrella. So I don't want to go.
You took all the time.
Just say I don't want to go.
It's like actually scary because that's very calculated.
From the time the husband says you're very good at lying, brother, that's not something to be proud of.
No. Yeah, no.
If I'm that, then I'm not. I'm out.
Because what else will you lie
someone that
about?
takes pride in their lying.
But also, what else will you lie about? Like, how does
as little as that?
Yeah, but also a relationship's built on trust. If I can't even trust you to tell the truth, like, what
can I trust you?
Where do we go from there? Because come on,
it's like if you're lying about 100%, you're lying about 80% of other stuff.
Yeah.
You're lying about walking the dog. How hard is it to say it's raining? It's raining.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk the dog in the rain.
Walk the dog right now. I'll walk it when I try. Like,
it's not hard to say.
Yeah.
Or put the dog out in the garden.
That is a madness. That is scary, bro.
But that is scary. That is, I mean, premeditated. It's calculated. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
And then to boast about it.
Sorry?
And then to boast about it.
Yeah,
that's
but then she, on top of it, in the story, the person said the same person lied about her at work.
About bullying.
That's a scary person.
Of course. Those people I would say far away from.
Take a big wide...
I'll take the long way around. Trust me, I will not see you.
Well, that's the thing. I think, we need to learn to take the long way around to some people.
Husband needs an air tag with her, boy. That's what he needs. About you walking the dog.
Well, I know. he's stuck with her, isn't he? Good luck on that marriage lasting, because you can't build a marriage on that.
She probably lies since she signed the divorce papers.
Yeah.
I got another one here. It says when he still messages his ex on a regular basis.
Oh, no, honey. Child.
Oh no! Hell no! Hell no!
Like the fruit, let that man go.
Girl.
He's still messaging his ex
on a regular basis.
On a regular basis.
What do you have to converse about?
So we were friends
now,
first.
hold on a minute. Why are you in touch with your ex?
I don't actually care, because that's just ridiculous.
What if they say that our mums are friends?
I don't care.
Our mums are friends.
Just imagine. You never heard when people break up and then the mum really likes them, so they still invite them around the house and all that.
No.
You never heard of that before?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but you close the door. That relationship's ended.
What do you do in that situation when the mum doesn't like your current partner, but likes the ex-partner?
I think what would be tricky though, but I think what would be tricky is if you had been married and you were maybe now divorced, but there's children involved, because then you still
let's put it this way, Danny. If Dominic and
no, I'm not Mr.
I'm not going to. We're all going to be very anti anyone else.
Yeah, it's very hard to accept. I know Jerome's family wouldn't accept anybody after me.
Right.
Like his sister calls me we have our own relationships, so
especially if it's somebody really nice. I get that, but as
look at your brother's
forget the moms.
His new wife.
Sorry.
Look at your brother's previous wife and then his new wife.
How's that going? No, but that's just her.
Yeah, but
but I think you're not you're gonna have preference as to, especially if you've had somebody you've got a really good relationship with. But I think you as the other person have to respect. Yeah. And I would say that's the one thing that she did do. She respected the boundaries and she backed away.
Yeah.
That I think you have to, as that person,
that's
take
hard
on
as well,
that
though.
responsibility.
Yeah, you've taken it as your family, and then to
especially if you've been married,
distance yourself.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah.
That's where it gets
but I think if we're just in a relationship and you're messaging your ex, I'm sorry. Like, I know there's a person that I follow on Instagram where she is actually married, and she got caught out I think.
Yeah, I
last
saw this
week. Did
one.
you see
Hey,
that?
this one is crazy. I'm telling you, this one, I'm gone.
And that's why also, sorry, don't just believe everything you see on social media when everywhere you think people are happy, clappy.
No.
Don't
Listen,
believe everything. I
long
didn't
story
do that.
short, she was talking to. She was seeing him before, right?
No, so she basically found out that she was a guy that she used to see,
Yeah.
but she
So
found that
it's-
he'd broken up.
So a US
with-
rapper
Okay.
from America was talking to a girl from the UK.
Okay.
So
She's bearing in mind this girl from the UK is married with a child.
yeah, they're in like a public figure in terms of the UK black
Yeah.
community, whatever. And she's talking to this guy. So his baby mother
Yeah.
has put
So
out
they
all these
broke
messages.
up, I think, for a month.
They broke up for a month. So the US rapper's baby mothers must have got the messages on the laptop on the iMessage.
Yeah.
So she's seen the whole conversations.
Oh wow.
This
So she's
married
outed
woman from
her.
the UK with the child
And
is sending
husband.
explicit images to this man
Oh,
from
images.
their marital bed.
Hey,
Hey, this one, I will hear.
I
God,
didn't see this.
if Christ wasn't my savior, I'm telling you. Yeah, that one there. There's no coming back. I'm sorry.
Of her and her husband.
No, of her
Of her.
in
Of
their
her.
room
Oh my
I
god.
to
didn't
this
know that
guy.
bit.
Yeah,
Well, that's a
I thought it was
finish. That's a
messages.
finisher.
and she's all saying things like, I'm
Is she
just
still
being in the
married?
shower with you and this things
Oh
and
no.
and
that's
all these
finished.
conversations have come out on like the
Obviously, the
UK.
baby mothers, they got back together now.
But she like.
But she's
Exposed
obviously
her.
exposed her because she's like, what kind of married woman are you? People don't know who they're married to.
Oh, it's
Oh.
mad. It is so
But he's
mad.
obviously now moved out of the marital home. He's
Yeah, of
unfollowed her
course.
on
He found out from
Instagram.
social media.
Yeah,
Her
imagine.
husband.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking,
So obviously
boy.
he's devastated.
That's humiliating.
So then she
That's
released,
humiliating.
she released a statement on her Instagram.
Yeah,
to
you're my
say,
everything. Nothing
You're
comes
my
before
everything. A
you.
picture of their wedding rings together. Like I've
Foolish.
embarrassed our
foolish goat.
families.
The horse is bolted.
Innit?
The horse is bolted. It's too late to
It's too
close
late.
the barn door.
She's saying nothing comes before you.
The barn door is the.
If you
horse
didn't
is
get caught, this
bolted.
would be still
Yeah.
carrying on. So
Yeah.
this is before
Yeah,
day
if you
before
weren't
Valentine's Day.
caught
She's
out-
sending this guy images, and then
Yeah.
you're posting
And then you're
the
away
hotel where we're
in-
together.
Yeah.
Wow.
God, listen.
That means
I
all,
just-
all the
you know what I
time
can
that you're
handle, it's not
together,
that.
you're thinking about this person.
Yeah, because
Nah,
then that's too much.
that's a lot.
Yeah, there's no
So
come
that-
back from
I'd
that.
say
for
that's
me.
No.
why I
I'm
think
done.
Certain things. Yeah.
I'm done.
exes
yeah.
needs to just be cut
You,
off.
that's
like
what I'm
it-
saying. You close the
you
door,
can't keep that
even
door
if there's
open.
feelings.
Yeah.
If you the feelings are never going to subside if you keep in touch
Yeah.
and you make a decision. Because if you don't move on,
Yeah.
and there's other people in the relationship, he's moved on, he's
Yeah.
with somebody,
Yeah.
you've moved on,
Yeah.
but you're still trying to keep this this old relationship
you
going.
can't.
You got to close the door to
can't.
give the new ones a
doesn't matter
chance. It
how
doesn't
great
Yeah,
work.
you can't give
friends
100%
you
if you still
No,
got
you
a part of you
can't.
over there.
And
so.
given half the chance, you cheat.
Yeah.
Given
Or
half
if
the
he
chance,
was here in the flesh.
yeah, she would have
But
met
this is
up
one
with him.
scenario. You don't know how many other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is just she's. Remember the girl's reading the messages from the guy.
Mm.
So you don't know what other people she's messaging or. Everyone in the comments is like, man, I could have told you she's for the streets a long time ago, and
For the
she's
streets?
in
Oh,
jail
no.
for like
didn't see
possession
that
of.
coming.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh
it's a lot,
no.
listen.
Oh, I didn't
wow.
see that.
You're better off. You're better off, man. Because
Oh,
Really?
shame.
Oh, I
it's real
thought it
early.
was
It's just a shame that
nice.
kids are involved, but
I
yeah.
know.
That's sad. That's really
Yeah.
sad. And that's so
I'm
selfish,
sure
you
the signs
know.
were there, brother. The red flags.
Oh dear.
Mhm.
But that's really sad, you know, that that moment of selfishness, that
Moment.
what it is. It's like while
That was a-
no, but
Love moment.
while you're
Season.
doing that, you're totally disregarding or not taking into account
Yeah.
the feelings of all those that are
And
connected
that's
in your
what's so
life.
selfish about it.
Yeah, because you've hurt
Yeah.
you've devastated
Yeah.
and destroyed
changed your-
this guy's.
your child's life.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to take a moment to come back from
Some
that.
guys don't come back from that. They end
No,
up just-
because
And
he's
then they're just scorned for
and
life,
then
and then they
Don't
put
trust
everyone in
anyone.
the
For it to
same
be-
category.
yeah, but for it to be so public, it's going to take him a long time to even trust a woman
Yeah,
again.
but also he married her. Like they've just bought a home recently, a new home.
Wow.
Like they've got a lovely little boy. Like he's, just it's just really
It's like that
sad.
new Usher song. It says, "You ruined me for everybody."
Yeah,
Oh.
basically.
Yeah, you
But
basically
it's
what
also
you've done
like
is
now
damaged
it's
any
really
possibility.
probably awful because it's not just them. It's not just the husband, the wife, and the child.
Yeah.
It's now like you've got the families.
Yeah, that's
so
where
that's
her,
where
like-
it's really messy.
And friends.
yeah,
'Cause
Her
then your
mum-
friend
her family must
circle-
feel shame. Like you come around there now, it's like, like,
Yeah.
what'd you say? What'd you say in
What
that
do you say?
situation?
Yeah.
What do you say?
It's-
And then she
I
comes
just-
around your family.
Not
It's
that
like
it's ever
it's
okay, but I
ruined.
always
Yeah.
feel like when a woman does it, it's just because women don't just do things.
Mm.
Women are actually we're thinkers.
Yeah.
We process.
Calculated.
It's not
we
just
don't just do things off
Yeah.
the whim. We don't like.
there's emotional
calculated.
attachments
For
to it.
you took the pictures. You
Hey,
said
that
you
one.
present.
That one there.
you.
If
you
I wasn't
reached
already over
out.
there, that one just.
Yeah.
You
Put me
know.
over
Can
there.
I just say as a disclaimer, not all women are like that. There are some really, really good girls
There
out
are,
there.
but nowadays with these,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, I know.
It's,
It's,
That's a
it's
disclaimer
look,
from
it's finding
an era
them.
that is no longer.
it no longer exists.
Yeah. I'm sure there's
It's
women that say,
really-
"You do not speak for us."
It's really
We are about that life.
Yeah.
We belong to the streets.
Outside, soft life.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
she's trying to upgrade to the next.
girls,
Tax
come
bracket.
on, girls.
Yeah, it
let's
wasn't
let's
enough of a lifestyle.
let's be a good thing. Let's be a
Oh.
good thing for a guy
If you
to
see the
find.
guy, that's the worst thing. At least cheat. If you're gonna cheat with me, you better be.
Oh, I haven't seen the guy.
Oh,
no.
shame.
Oh,
Such a shame.
Yeah. No, I know it's and the thing is, girls, I think bounce back better from being
The guys
betrayed.
are, listen.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm
No,
probably wrong, but I find like when men have been
Emotionally damaged.
damaged,
It's bad, yeah.
I've seen it with
It
guys
sticks.
where women have just hurt them and women have betrayed or destroyed them. And I watch them. It's literally like somebody crashing up a piece of paper, and it takes a moment, a long
You can't get all them
moment,
creases
to
out. You
smooth
won't get those
and the
creases
creases never go.
But I think also you didn't just. It wasn't just your girlfriend.
It's your wife.
But I think there's something. I
Yeah.
think a girlfriend. Yeah, you're gonna have girls that come and go.
Yeah.
But I think when you choose for a guy to take that step to marry
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
we've exchanged vows. That takes a
Yeah.
lot for a man
Yeah.
in general. And I think the humiliation.
I think on
and
top
the
of that, it's public as
shame.
well.
And
And the
even to the
embarrassment.
point from the moment a guy asks a girl to marry him,
Yeah.
there's a movie. It's just a movie. I forget the girl that was in it, but it's a movie, and so she hires this guy. He's like a male escort.
Okay.
She's living in America, so her family's in the UK. So she hires this male escort guy to come and pretend he's her boyfriend and
Okay.
just be like, make all this drama and fuss over her because she's trying to get her ex jealous. But it turns out her sister's getting married, and so I think the groomsman is this other sister's ex, and it turns out just before the wedding that it all unravels that the girl who's hired the guy, her ex has been sleeping with her sister. He's been with her before. Now he's with the sister, and the other guy didn't find out. So this all comes out like the day before the wedding. I mean, it's an English thing, so they still go ahead and get married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's just like the devastation for everybody. That they, after the engagement, that this carry on is going on. I think from the moment a man says, "I choose you,"
Yeah.
I choose you, he's already taken that step. And it happens, doesn't it, where people are engaged but they're still cheating.
Yeah.
And
Some people cheat up to the night before. I was tagged or whatever.
yeah,
it's not.
it's crazy.
People got different rules for that thing. But
Yeah. I think it's just look for those red flags, and
Yeah,
as
and
much
I
as you
think-
can. Not red flag can be spotted,
But
but
I think also when you're going into or navigating any kind of new relationship, whether it be a friendship
yeah,
or a romantic relationship, have your eyes
Yeah.
open.
yeah.
No one is that amazing that you need to just like after 2-3 dates.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like you
Yeah.
do know that this is the person that you want to be with or that you want to do life with, I think that just be
Yeah.
observant.
Yeah.
And for me,
And
no
you don't wanna-
relationship is real until it's been tested.
But one of the things as well, watch out for where they disappear off the radar.
Yeah.
What does that mean? When you can't reach them
Yeah.
for a long period of time, you can't reach them.
But I think red flags for me is you have to test a relationship.
Yeah.
So how do you react when you get angry, or there's a situation for you to get, or an opportunity for you to get angry or annoyed, or you know, or I frustrated you, or because that's gonna happen. That's the reality in marriage. You're gonna upset each other.
Yeah.
You're gonna frustrate each other. You're gonna. It's never gonna just all be roses and flowers. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, there's gonna be opportunities where you look at each other and you're like, oh, I don't really like you that much today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like like being honest.
Yeah, because you'll know each other.
But you have to have somebody that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I love you, so I'm gonna be willing to work through this. But how does that person get to that place? If they're slapping you around and abusing you verbally, physically, mentally.
Is this before marriage?
Either before or after marriage.
Yeah.
The reality is have your eyes open and test the relationship before you make that kind of commitment.
Yeah.
Before you say I do, test the relationship. Even if you have to push the boundaries, push the buttons to see what their reaction's going to be, because that's the reality. You know, you don't know what's in somebody until you've actually, that opportunity has presented itself.
And that's what makes it hard today, because people are doing online dating.
Yeah.
They're meeting people. They're meeting people on social media. The problem with social media, the problem with online stuff, you've not met their circle. You've not met their family. You don't know anything outside of what they tell you. You know nothing about them. You know, we gather information from having met you. I see the kind of friends you hang out with. That tells me a lot about you. Oh, then I meet your family. That tells me a whole nother side about you. So stop getting into serious relationships with online, whether it's a dating website, which I don't recommend, because let it be, what do you call it, Dominic? Organic. Let it be organic. Find somebody that you
I don't think people
meet.
even meet just organically anymore. I don't think that's a thing.
Well, that's a problem. It's a problem.
People
We
have
don't.
got headphones in on their phones, or they don't. People don't speak. Just like if you see someone you like.
But even when you see people walking down the street now, everyone's just got their head in their
Yeah,
phone.
no one's.
Even when you go watch, like so many times now when we go out for dinner, the couples are literally just sitting there, like both of
on
them
their phones,
looking down at their phone, and I'm like,
it's literally like.
Well, we watched a couple. We watched a couple one Valentine's. She's looking past him. He's looking past her, and then every now and then they get their phone out, and they literally were not having a conversation.
It's so common.
I don't think people talk like that. Even at home, they probably have both on their phones, sitting in front of the TV.
That's
why lockdown was such a major thing for a lot of people, because it forced people to actually have to be in each other's presence, and you can't be distracted.
That's when a lot of people got divorced.
That's what a lot of people didn't make it out of lockdown. In their marriage,
because you actually have to spend time with that person. You know, so I don't think organic is if it is a thing, it's very small percentage of people meet organically, or if they do, it's usually through a friend, and a friend introduces you. It's nothing like you used to see someone you like on the street and approach them and talk to them. I don't think people even do that anymore.
I don't think so.
Wow.
No, I don't think that's a thing. So
it's a different time.
It's most of it is online.
It's a scary time.
Yeah.
It's a scary time when it comes to relationships. It's scary. You know,
but I think that's why you have to even more so be observant and have your eyes open, because you know the traditions, and you can say the old schoolness of what used to be is very much not present anymore.
It's very.
And just remember, guys, gals, remember that people introduce their personality to you, not their character. People present what they want you, the best version of themselves. No one presents their real version. Everyone always presents the best version of themselves, and that's not the real person. And give it enough time, because we jump in with both feet straight off, and that's where our hearts get broken. Test the waters, they say. That means you know, like if you get into a pool, the first thing we do is stick our toes in, right? Is it cold? Then we brace ourselves. Oh, it's cold. If it's nice, then we know it's okay to jump straight in. So test the waters. I don't mean sleep around with them. I'm talking about get to know them, and just take your time, because unless you want to go from one broken heart after another, you need to be slow. Be slow.
And when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
That you
so
know
those things will pop up. You know, certain things will bubble up.
And 9 times out of 10, when you see a character trait, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. It's like the Titanic. They didn't see that big old
mountain underneath.
That mountain of ice when the boat hit. But usually you'd have seen the tip of the iceberg. And I think don't ever lead from a desperate place. Like, don't ever go into something desperate, because your vision's gonna be clouded, your judgment's gonna be clouded. Yeah. Like, if you're desperate to get married and you just like, listen, when you're married, you've got your whole life to be married. You know, and you know, a lifetime is more than enough to be with somebody, whether that's you getting started at 50 or 25. Like, you've got your whole life. And I think that when you lead from a desperate place, it does cloud your judgment, and you have judgment, you have errors in your judgment, and you override a lot of things, and you let a lot of things slide because you're desperate. You just want it to happen. Don't be that person.
I think we've run out of time, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you follow us on Related Pod on Instagram. Share it. Invite other people to come on. We've got some great shows. Great discussions.
If you got any people you want us to sit down with and talk to, message us on Instagram, and we'll see.
And if there's any topics you want us to cover,
any topics,
let us know.
Yes, please. So we want to be able to relate to what things that you might find interesting that we can talk about, and so we look forward to more conversations like this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.